Seersucker Sue on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day.
Well, welcome to Capital Region Today. I'm so glad you're joining us today. We've got a great lineup as always. We have, and I imagine you're getting ready for that turkey dinner, aren't you? Getting ready to pick that turkey up and get it defrosted just in time. But we've got a great lineup today, so we're going to be starting out with theater again, and Patrick White's acting class will be doing a production as well, and it's called The Christians. We'll find out what that's all about. And then we're going to be talking to one of our favorite authors, Phil Bailey. He is the former anchorman on from TV, and he's written his third in a series of mysteries called Mysteries on Skis, but this one is called Back Dirt. We're going to find out about that one. And then, of course, who doesn't love comedy? Doreen Watson is going to be along, and she brought an executive chef with her as well. I don't think he's a comedian because he makes very good barbecue from what I understand. And we'll be talking about that big event coming up at the Hudson Candy Factory over in Troy. So that'll be fun to learn about her headliners that she's brought in. And then kind of for my one guest that I'm going to be really spending some time with, his name is Ed Ullman, and he's a pharmacist, and he has what they call a wellness pharmacy in Tannersville. We're going to find out about how his pharmacy differs from the ones that you probably have experienced in the past or experiencing now. So we've got a great lineup, and we hope that you'll stick with us for the entire show and learn about all of our great guests and what they're up to. We're going to start out with Harbinger Theater, which is going to be performing at the Albany Barn, and they've got a play called The Christians, and I have Aileen Burke here, and she's and what is you're the producer, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're the producer of it. And along with that, you brought Rob Weber with you, and he's a music director. So is this a musical?
It is not. It is
Okay.
a play that features a choir. I believe the choir has...
Oh, so you're the choir master.
The choir director.
Okay, good.
Yes, the choir is its own character, pretty much. It definitely adds a richness to what we're doing, but it is a play.
Okay, so tell me, the title is very intriguing, The Christians. What does that? I mean, are they going to be burned at the stake? Are they thrown to the lions? What's going on?
No, so The Christians is the story, essentially, of a pastor, Pastor Paul, who decides he wants to take his congregation in this new direction.
A new direction.
Yes, and he...
And this is in fiction because they obviously do that now.
right.
We're doing that.
So, some sort of historical fiction, right? So it's not a real church, but it feels like a very real life situation with real life stakes and consequences, and that's ultimately what it becomes. It's a very human examination of the choices of this pastor and everything that happens after he makes his stand, pretty much.
Now, is this, would you call this, well, since you have a choir, so where'd you get your choir?
I have formed the choir, and we've been rehearsing as sort of a separate entity from the cast of the play because they're not really part of the play.
They're not part of that, and they don't have to learn lines.
Right, exactly. They're not cast members, they are the choir. And so I've, over recent months, and when I've approached people about being part of this group, the number one thing people keep saying to me is, oh, I've always wanted to be in a choir.
Oh, really?
That's the number
cool.
one thing that everyone says to me. So everyone's really been enjoying our rehearsal process, just singing the songs, the hymns that are in the play. There's 4 hymns that we sing.
Okay, and they're real hymns?
Real hymns.
Okay.
And it was interesting that in the author's notes at the beginning of the play, he talks about these 4 hymns, and he says you can use other choices if you want, but I chose to use the ones that were written by the author in the play.
And that's what you chose, of course.
That's what I chose, and they're all actually very well known.
What are they? Can you tell us, or is this supposed to be a surprise?
This part isn't really a surprise.
Okay.
One is called I Feel Like Traveling On, which
Okay.
is a gospel hymn that has been done by every possible genre you can think of, from Elvis to more modern singers done in movies.
Okay.
One is called Hold to God's Unchanging Hand.
Okay.
And another is called Farther Along, which is a very famous hymn.
Okay.
And then one of our big rousing ones is called Catch on Fire, where we have one soloist who sings with kind of a response and
A
answer.
gospel type, yeah.
With the choir.
Now, is this the first time that you've directed a choir, or is this your avocation or your?
Yes, it's
Career.
my avocation. I've done a lot of musical directing over the
Okay.
years in actual musicals. I have a vocal studio here in Albany, Rob Weber's vocal
Okay.
studio, and I teach people singing.
Oh, okay.
And I have showcases with my students that are several times a year at the Albany Barn as well.
So you were a good match for Patrick.
I was, and I'm an actor, local actor as well, so I originally met Patrick doing Our Town at Albany Civic Theater about
Yeah,
10 years
yeah.
ago, and we became friends, and when I opened my studio, I very much was inspired by him with his acting class. So we've worked together as actors. He's been a director. I've been in plays that he's directed. True West I was in that he directed. And so when he approached me about this, it was a very exciting opportunity to work with him. I've done a lot of musicals over the years, but I've never done anything that wasn't a musical, but it had
Oh,
all
that's
this
really cool.
singing.
Yeah, yeah. So, and Aileen, how did you pick this? Or did you pick it?
So what's very
Or
exciting,
did Patrick pick it?
Patrick kind of picked this in a collaborative fashion. So what's exciting about Harbinger and what we're trying to do is bring the region some new theater that
Yeah.
they haven't seen before.
Right.
New authors, new titles, new concepts to think about.
Like he did Men in Boats with all women?
Exactly. Yes,
love that.
Yes, yes. Men on Boats was wonderful. But from those experiences, right? So Men on Boats was through the acting class, and that's kind of how Harbinger has come to be. And this play was selected for that reason. Lucas Nath is a wonderful.
I know, he's
wonderful
done, this
playwright.
isn't the first play he's done by, or Patrick's done by him.
No, he recently just
Yeah.
did Death Tax.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was very well received, I think, in part to the writing, but this is just another one of kind of like a running list of these wonderful, wonderful productions that this area hasn't seen.
He has a
So-
talent to find them.
Yes.
I mean, like you
absolutely.
said, all I do is read plays, and I believe that, because,
Yeah.
yeah.
A definite dedication. So that's kind of, it was like a little bit of a list, and this one felt right, so just kind of went with it, and
That-
so far so good.
That's great. Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Rob, for being here to
Thank
talk
you.
about your music, and it should be a rousing addition to the play, I'm
Thank you
sure.
very
Yeah,
much. It's a
thank you
lot
for
of fun.
being here, yeah.
Thank you.
Curiosity, if you're looking for a little trivia, I taught with Patrick's dad
Oh, I love
at the
it.
College of Pharmacy.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, is
Oh,
that something? Yeah, his dad was a pharmacist.
That's wonderful trivia.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Little trivia there, yeah, cool. So, hey, it's good to see you again, Dennis.
Hi, Ann.
Been
Great
a
to
while
see you
since you've
too.
been on the
Yes,
show,
it
yeah.
has been a while, yes.
And so are you in the play, obviously?
Yes, I am.
And what part are you playing?
I played Pastor Paul.
You're Pastor Paul. You're the
Pastor
guy
Paul.
that kind of goes off into a new direction?
Yeah, I try to take my congregation with me. Yep.
Yeah, where are you going with it? I mean, where are you going with that congregation?
Well, it's just a different set of beliefs that I have, and I'm trying to, preach to the congregation because they pretty much hinge on every word I say. And
Oh, you're very charismatic then.
very charismatic. That's right.
And you
trying to
like
be.
that part, huh?
I do love that part, yes. I figure it wasn't much of a stretch. I hope anyway. But, yeah, it's just, he realizes that the Bible doesn't really, it says something that's not really true. And he's trying to convey this to the congregation. And with some success and some short of success. And it's about the disagreements that come up within the church, within his congregation, and it's just a number of disagreements that are, it's back and forth.
Got a lot of convincing to do, you mean?
A lot of convincing to do. This is
Yeah,
true.
yeah. So you like the part?
I love the part. This is, it's the biggest role I've ever had to take on.
Oh, really?
It's
Yeah.
a big challenge. But I like it because it's a very thought-provoking piece. It's a type of play where people will leave there and probably be talking about it
You
on
know,
the way home and for hours after.
I've got to say that when my husband and I used to go to the plays and stuff, we always felt that if we were talking about it on the way home, it was a successful play. Whether, there's always something that he saw in it that I didn't, or I saw and he didn't, and then we would kind of kick it around, and I love that.
It's true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a play that's It's for believers and non-believers both. I mean, I think both can embrace what
Sure,
it is.
sure.
And it is actually a church service in a theatrical format.
Is that right?
So, and that's how it's being presented. So, as an audience member.
Do you pass the hat?
Well, I don't want to give away any little secrets, but I'm imagining as an audience member that you.
You know,
probably
you
are
have the
going to
thing
feel-
going down the aisle
Yes,
there.
yes. I think as an audience member, you're going to feel like you're at church, you're at a service.
Okay, good. Yeah, you go out feeling a little holier, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe there'll be a hole in your pocket, too.
That's true. That's true.
That's good. So when will we see this play, and how does, when?
Okay, so the first 2 weekends in December.
Okay.
I believe all at 7:30, correct?
Yep, 7:30 start. The official first show is December 2nd, but there's a preview on December 1st.
Pay what you will.
Then
Oh,
it
nice.
runs the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and the 9th, 10th, and 11th
And this is at the Albany Barn.
at the Albany Barn.
And where is that located?
Just up from Tenbrook Manor,
Okay,
Second Avenue?
2nd Avenue.
Yep.
Yep.
okay, and
It
then,
runs parallel to Clinton Avenue.
yeah. Well, Pastor Paul, I hope that you have a good congregation that night, at each night, and you
I
have,
hope
and you have a few people throwing a few pennies into the pot, so
I'm
that would be
hoping.
great.
I'm hoping it's even more than that.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here,
Thank you,
Dennis.
ma'am.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank
I
you
know
very
you've
much.
been in very many productions, and I'm glad to hear that this is your biggest one yet,
Yeah,
so.
I can't wait. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
good, good.
Thank you, Ann.
Aileen, so are you in Patrick's class? Is that it? Is that how that works? And that you can become a producer or you can become an actor?
Yes, so I took class with Patrick earlier this year, and then as kind of Harbinger was starting, and we knew we were doing this show, he approached me about producing, and we talked about forming a creative team. And,
Nice.
And yeah, it's a wonderful experience. I haven't done anything like it, and for myself personally, I moved here from Pennsylvania, and the theater scene here is just so wonderful.
It's huge,
So
isn't it? I've
nice.
had people that leave this area and think they're going into another area like this, and there aren't.
No.
It isn't there.
Absolutely not. So, but just this is how I could start,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
To kind of look at all of these possibilities
Yeah.
and find a place. So, yes, yeah, you can come in as an actor, a student trying to learn, and then, you know, the possibilities are endless. Student assistant directors and stage managers and the whole nine.
Well,
So-
whatever you do, you have to have people behind the scenes that are they're working along with you.
Absolutely,
So, yeah.
yes.
So I do want to thank you for being here and for
Thank you.
working with Patrick. He's wonderful to work with.
I agree.
Yeah,
Thank you
he's
so
an
much.
amazing man, and him and Chris Foster both are amazing working together in the theater scene. I get his Christmas letter, and he's seen, 85 productions or 234 productions this year, and it's like, wow, whoa.
Always a tremendous number, absolutely.
I know, and they've read so many plays, and it's like, oh my gosh. He's in total immersion, but that's what makes him so great, and a great director and teacher as well.
Dedication.
Thanks, Aileen, and break a leg.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
good. We're going to switching over to Phil Bailey. Hey, Phil, how does it feel to be in front of the camera again? I mean, you were an anchor for many years, and
Yeah.
what happened? And now you're a writer.
Now I'm a writer. You know, I loved my career in television. I was a television journalist for over 40 years and love my audience members. Still delighted when they want to approach me and say hi.
Hi.
But it was time to do something else, and I have a passion for writing, and I just wanted to do it. I didn't want to
Now,
ignore
have
it
you written
anymore.
before this, or is this
My-
this series that you're doing? Is this the first?
It's the first one. The first book that I wrote, Murder on Skis.
Yep.
I wrote it 20 years before it was published.
Get out.
But it was because, as you know, I had...
You were working.
Yeah. I had my
And
hands full
skiing.
with my job
And skiing.
family and skiing. And it was received well, and I wrote a second one
Yeah.
called Loving Lucy, and Back Dirt is the third one.
This
so
is
it's the
it.
third
And I
in the
know you
series.
brought a poster here. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
what happened to
Oh,
it,
well,
but
it's still
yeah,
over
maybe
there,
somebody will
in the
put it up
wings.
here, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so this is called Back Dirt, a Murder
And
on
I'm
Skis
holding it up in
mystery.
case, and always have a picture up there as well, so good.
And it unfolds in the Adirondacks. The first book unfolded in Montana, the
Right.
second was in Colorado, and Back Dirt unfolds in the Adirondacks.
Let's
in
give out the
upstate
Adirondacks.
New
They
York.
got good skiing here, too.
Well, it does, and it's a lovely area, as we know. And the funny thing, when I first arrived here in 1986, My first winter, I flew on a
That was 35 years ago,
charter
36
flight.
years ago, yeah.
We don't have to count. After a while, we don't have to
No, I'm doing the math. I'm sorry.
So I flew on a charter flight with Governor Mario Cuomo and other members of the press, and we went up to Lake Placid. And I was surprised because it was a very small airport, and I think there was one small building that I guess would pass for the terminal, though not really. And I was really surprised because on a national scale, Lake Placid is as well known as Vail and Aspen. People know and respect the Lake Placid
And they
brand.
think they're going to go into a huge, town that was really,
And of
but
course,
it
we know
isn't.
the town is fantastic,
Yeah.
Lake Placid.
Oh, it is.
And you can't reenact things that are just old and historic, and that
And
is
they've
Lake
kept it
Placid.
that way.
But it's a well-kept secret.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to write a book that took place in the Adirondacks. It is lovely, the Adirondack architecture and furniture is unique.
Yep.
And captivating, and there's great stories to be told here. Each story, each book, it's a fictional ski area I create. It's a fictional county. In this place, I create a county called Joseph County, named after the Mohawk chief, Joseph
yeah,
Grant.
yeah.
Exactly. And the ski area is called Battle Axe. And some fellow authors and others say, what, are you crazy? You could write Murder at Vail, and they would love you. They'd welcome you with open arms, and they'd feed you and let you ski for free. And I say, yeah, until I killed somebody on their gondola, and then maybe killed somebody
Yeah,
else
they
in their
wouldn't
hot
like
tub.
that so much, right?
Exactly. Then I would hear from their lawyers. Who
Yeah,
would
yeah.
explain
Wait a
the
minute,
nuances of,
this is
yes,
Vail. We
slander
don't
and
have
pain
murders
and
here.
suffering.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they're in very real settings.
And the fact is that you are a skier.
Yes.
So therefore, when I read your book, I mean, you really intertwine a lot of the
Yeah.
technical stuff that I don't know anything about skiing, but I'm feeling though I'm learning a little.
Yeah, though I'd really try not to go over the top on that, and my favorite reviews are the ones that say, look, this is a good murder mystery. You don't have to know how to ski.
Yeah,
It's
no.
not what you think. It's more than
No,
that.
no. It has
But I
nothing.
I love the setting of ski areas. They're in very interesting places. There's a real cross-section of America at ski areas, especially with the, there's been quite an effort to diversify the sport, which I think we all thought was
Yep.
needed. And so it's really a changing scene, and there are just great stories to be told. Anybody who rides up a chairlift. I was asked, Loving Lucy was set in Colorado. And I mean, I lived in Colorado for quite a while and worked there.
So you had some experience.
Yes, but, she did ask me, and it was fair, well, kind of what gives you a right to write a book about Colorado? And I said, well, it's not, listen, anytime somebody rides up a chairlift at a ski area, they may have somebody from Massachusetts on their left, somebody from Montana on the right, and the one next to them is from Austria.
Yeah.
And we're all talking about common experiences.
Exactly.
We all want to know, because we all want to or have been to Jackson Hole and to, maybe Wengen in Switzerland and Aspen. And so it's a great community to write about, no matter where you are in America or even overseas. You can talk about people, and the story really is about people and the interesting stories that come with them. And there's some archaeology in back dirt, and I sort of dredge up an old mystery, an old unsolved mystery in the Adirondacks or in the North Country that's gone unresolved so far for around 200 years.
Amazing. So you've done a little research here, a little research. Well, you have to do a little research, and you have to know. I was listening to a book on tape or on CD, and at the very end, the author, I think it was Lee Childs that I was listening to, and he was saying, okay, so I made a mistake in the book. One of the readers pointed out to me that I said I would use this gun, but it was really a different gun in the next chapter, and I made a mistake, and I didn't catch it. And then at the end, he says, please don't write me anymore if I make it. But it made me laugh because it's true. When you write, you might be writing this chapter, and then you pop over to here. You don't always write them in the same, well, maybe you do, but I've heard.
Cross your fingers that you catch them all.
Yeah.
And of course, you have an editor who will catch them if you don't.
Yeah, maybe.
Sometimes you both miss it.
Yeah.
But you try not to. And I do, getting back to, the premise of your question, that yes, I do a lot of research. I mean, I am a journalist to the bone.
Yep.
And so wherever these are set, I go to that area and I spend time in that area. And
You gotta get a
figure out-
feel.
Yes, figure out what would happen, where, and how. It's gotta be plausible. And so I do that, and that's part of it. It is a journalist story, and there are a lot of true stories in here. The Lady in the Lake comes up in this one just because somebody asks, and we all know the Lady of the Lake
Yeah, of
story.
course,
Great,
of course.
That up in Lake Placid.
Yep.
And there are, Loving Lucy, the second book in Colorado, a reader wrote to me and said, "There really is a Mike the Headless Chicken?" I said, well, yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have written it in there. Mike the Headless Chicken was a rancher in Fruita, Colorado, who decided to invite Mike the chicken to dinner, and not as a guest, but as a meal. And so he beheads Mike, as that's what you do with chickens.
That's what you do.
And the old saying,
They may
running
not
around-
like it, but that's what you do.
Yeah, it comes as a surprise to them and no one else. And so, the old running around like a headless chicken, that's what Mike did. But he didn't die. And Mike, the headless chicken, lived for another 18 months. And the rancher felt so bad and didn't feel he deserved, double jeopardy. And so he would feed, with an eyedropper, he would feed this headless chicken. And it's a true story. It's crazy, but it's true. And there is every year in Fruita, Colorado, a Mike the Headless Chicken Festival.
Yeah, just like Groundhog's Day, huh?
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Puxatawny. The headless chicken. Okay. Is there a fourth one coming?
Yes, actually there is.
Do you have a title for it yet?
Well, yeah, but I'm not going to give that away. But it
Oh,
takes
okay.
place in Vermont.
Oh, now we're going to Vermont.
And there are reasons. Adirondacks, of course, it needed to be, I wanted to tell this story because it's such a well-kept secret. And of course, the lifestyle and the skiing, we all adore Vermont. There was also another factor, and that's COVID. We really couldn't board a plane, didn't feel comfortable boarding a plane.
No, that's right.
And so I sort of rearranged my plans. What was going to be book 3, maybe is probably book 5 now. But book 4 is well-written.
But you had to
done.
go to
I hope it's
Vermont to get the
well-written,
feel.
but
You had to go to
yes,
Vermont.
Yeah, and we had to go in the summer. If you remember, last summer, the numbers really started dropping, and we thought we were through,
Yeah, right. We
And
found
so
out what
we
happened.
Took that opportunity, brought our masks, of course, and spent some time up in Vermont in the summer to get our setting and create our
Yeah,
world
get
where
a
the
feel.
fourth book would
Yeah.
unfold. And so that'll be in Vermont, and that'll be out next autumn.
Well, you got to come on and talk about that one, too.
I will come
Yeah,
back
I
as
know,
long as
I
you
know.
keep inviting me.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have you on and to know that there's life after life. I mean, for me, it was doing TV. For you, you ended up with TV and now you're a writer. So, we don't know what direction our lives take, but we do keep doing it. Phil, it's always a pleasure to have you on, and keep writing because your writing is really wonderful. I do enjoy your books.
Thank you
So,
very
yeah,
much.
even though I've never skied, and well, I did ski once, but that didn't turn out
That's a
very
good
well.
endorsement. If you like the books and you're not a skier, that's a good message to
Exactly,
convey.
exactly. Thanks a bunch. Have a nice Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Good, good. We're going to switch over to a little comedy here. Doreen, always good to have you on the show.
Hello, Ann. How are you?
I know, I'm doing well.
You look fabulous.
And you're doing comedy.
Yes.
And tell me, I know that you've always, I had you on way back when.
Yeah.
When you were doing comedy.
Yeah.
And now you're gearing up again because, as I've said on the show, when COVID hit, everything went down the
Sure did.
tubes, and
Comedy dried up completely.
well, and not only that, but if you were kind of doing it as an avocation, it might not have been quite so bad, but if you're doing it as a career, it's a killer.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it was.
tell me, and with you, you brought your executive chef that's going to be doing a buffet.
He's also my brother.
That's your bro?
Yes.
Oh, wow. How nice.
You still tell
It
people
was
that,
okay
huh?
for me to. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And so, well, hey, bro, I'm glad you're here. So,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, well, now that's really nice that she told me that. Now I won't say anything bad about her family. No.
At least not me, anyway.
Yeah, anyway. So, Doreen, and so you were able to connect with your brother, and do, and you're over at the Hudson Candy Factory. You,
Correct.
all you do is make candy, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Not really, no.
So what do you do?
It's a catering venue.
Okay.
It's pretty new. It's very exciting. It's very well done. It's in a historically, a National Historic landmark, and we went in and did.
You're in Troy.
In Troy, on
Yeah.
River Street. And you walk in, there's hardwood floors throughout.
I know,
It's
most of those
very,
places are like that.
the original brick.
Yeah.
Some of the original wood throughout the building. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's just where you want to have a wedding, or you do a lot of sweet 16s.
Great venue.
Just a great venue. Great locations right on the Hudson. So it's the new place to go. And with, you mentioned COVID last year, it just wasn't a time to have catering or a time to get together.
I know.
But it's opening back up, and people are coming in.
They're still now they're getting married, and they're doing things, and they're having retirement parties, and they're
Retirement
doing all
parties,
the, yeah.
birthday parties, family reunions.
Graduation,
we
yeah,
do it
the whole
all.
thing.
Well-appointed kitchen.
So what's your specialty?
My specialty is barbecue.
I'm going to
actually.
get to you, Doreen. I'm just listening
Waiting
here.
my turn, waiting
Yeah.
my turn.
My specialty is barbecue, and I've done it for quite a long time, and my sister and I have collaborated on a few things, and it just evolves. It's like food itself. It's always moving, it's always evolving, it's always something new. And as a chef, I've been a chef for almost, I've been in the business almost 30 years.
Really?
So there's not too much I haven't seen, but that's why I'm always looking for something different with
So
barbecue.
you found your niche. You know that you're a barbecuer, huh?
I did. And the comedy show is where we'll showcase some of that barbecue flair. There's going to be food at the comedy
So
show.
what are you serving? Because we'll find out what she's serving on the stage. I want to know what you're serving on the buffet.
So we're going to do some pulled pork. We're
Okay.
doing, it's a pork shoulder. It's low and slow, like almost all barbecue
Yeah,
is.
it's like 32 hours we're cooking this. You know?
Right. But my stars are my sauces, and I do some things that are really out of the box. You're gonna find a charred watermelon sauce, a barbecue sauce that night. You're gonna see a Coca-Cola peach barbecue sauce.
I've heard the
also.
Coca-Cola that they use the Coca-Cola,
Yeah,
but not
yeah.
with peaches.
Yeah, with actually grilled peaches. You can bring out that.
Really?
Yeah, you
Oh,
bring out some
that
caramelization and the
smoky
sugar.
flavor, yeah.
Absolutely, and it's really prominent throughout the barbecue sauce.
And how long does it take you to make these barbecue sauces?
The watermelon barbecue sauce takes me about a full day.
Yeah.
And just, once all the ingredients are in the pot, we just kind of let it simmer.
You gotta let, and then reduce.
Reduce, and also, you just want to let it sit. You want to let the flavors marry. You want the flavors to develop.
Yeah.
So, and that really brings out that, I mean, when you taste it, you're going to say, oh my God, I didn't know watermelon could taste like that. Or I didn't know that Dr. Pepper and strawberries go together, because that's another sauce I do. So it's really, it's not your average barbecue. It's different. It's something that's not on the shelves. It's not not in the local barbecue places at all, so.
So we're
do some that
gonna
night.
get something special there, but you know what? I bet Doreen's got something special on that stage. You
I
got a
do.
headliner coming
I
in,
do.
right?
I have a headliner and a feature comedian, Coleman
Yeah,
Green.
yeah.
They're both from Philly.
Oh,
And,
okay.
Yeah, Coleman's been doing comedy probably just about as long as I have, about 20 years or so. He's also been on TV, he's been in commercials, he's got a new commercial out right now. I wish I could remember what it's about. Give me a minute, I'll think about it.
That's okay.
And Gene Norris is the feature comedian, and he is Coleman's brother-in-law.
Oh my God,
so-
this little nepotism here.
I know. So they travel together, and I've worked with them before. They're both
Okay.
very funny, not too dirty, adult, but not, too filthy. I can't have the filthy. That's too much for me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're gonna come up from Philly. They're gonna do a show for us, and it's gonna be awesome. I was able to talk the proprietor of Hudson Candy Factory into letting me do one trial show. We'll see how it goes. So I really need everybody's support.
Oh, so this is your trial show?
Yes, this is
Yeah.
the trial. So if we do well, there will be other shows there.
Yeah.
And I have a special code for your watchers today. If they put in Ann, A-N-N-P for Perillo,
Okay.
when they check out, they'll get $5 off.
There you go.
Yep.
Use Ann P, and you get $5 off your tickets. So, well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for being here today and supporting your sister, because I think it's important to have support for your family.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
Thanks for having
she's
me.
an awesome lady.
She
too.
is.
Thanks for being here. Now, when is this going to be?
This is going to be November 27th. It is the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I always tell people that by the Saturday after Thanksgiving, you'll be sick of your family. Come laugh with us.
Yes.
It's going to be a ball.
Yeah.
And have some barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you're doing a barbecue with it because it highlights what he's doing.
Yes.
And it also highlights the idea of you doing a show and getting the creative juices. Now, do you write your own material?
I do. And what's funny is my brother and I, he's the reason I started doing comedy. We were living together in the same house, cooking in the kitchen, and I would say stuff and he'd say, "Oh my God, you ought to
That's
be,
so funny.
You should be a comedian."
Yeah.
And sometime after he moved out, and it happened organically, I guess you would say, and he's the reason. So it's
Yeah,
great that
'cause
we're
you-
collaborating together.
You've been on my show early, many years ago
Yep.
when you were doing your comedy
Yep.
and supporting, you know.
Yeah, I think I was doing a show at Marauders.
Oh, my
At
gosh,
Marauders
yes.
downtown Schenectady.
Yes,
where I
that's
was doing it.
right.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that was a good restaurant.
It was a good restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We lose our restaurants.
We
that's
do.
terrible.
I don't know.
Yeah. But this one, you're going there, and the barbecue is a nice,
Yes.
and it's after Thanksgiving, so you're sick of turkey, so let's
Yep.
go with some pulled pork or something.
And I did send pictures of the venue, but I don't know what happened to them.
Oh,
So-
no, they came in as HTMLs, and I couldn't open them.
Oh, okay.
I tried everything.
Oh, okay.
And I saw that they were just that big circle with a little
Gotcha.
thing in it, and it was an HTML, and I tried.
I thought they were JPEGs. But I
No,
guess
they
not.
weren't JPEG. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
Excuse us while we talk shop.
I can't blame you then. It's not your
No,
fault.
you can't. No, you can blame me, but I should have emailed you and said, Doreen, I can't open those, but I didn't because I filed them.
Yeah.
And then when I went to do the PowerPoint, see, I do it all. When I was doing the PowerPoint, I realized I couldn't open them, and I kept clicking on them, and then I thought, well, if I put them in PowerPoint, maybe and I click on it, maybe it'll.
No.
For you that aren't technical, you don't know what we're talking about, but anyway, I did try.
Well, people can go to Hudson Candy Factory, their website.
Okay.
And can see that beautiful venue.
Yeah,
because it
I
really
did
is-
go to their website,
it
and
is
I did
something
see
to
that.
It's beautiful.
And I think I even tried to capture a picture, and that didn't work either.
And that's probably what I did and why they didn't work.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
So please, the 27th, it's
27th,
Saturday.
yes, the,
And $30 is for the show
And the
for-
buffet.
And if you type in Ann P,
You'll get
you get
$5
$5 off.
Yes. And the barbecue is being served between 6 and 7:15, and the comedy show starts at 7:30.
Okay, good. And do
And
they
I will
serve?
be hosting.
Do they serve, I'm not, they serve all kinds of beverages there, or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they
I didn't know whether, it was just a restaurant or what, or how they were doing it. Okay,
They will
good.
be serving beverages.
Yes. Well, I didn't know, because some people ask, well, sometimes I like a beer with it, and so
Yeah.
you do have it. Okay, good. And we don't want them to get too rowdy, though.
No, not too much.
Not too rowdy.
We don't want security to drag them out.
And one more time, let's talk about the two headliners that you have. I don't have
Two
it in front of me.
Headliner Coleman Green is the headliner, and his brother-in-law, Gene Norris, is the feature comedian.
Okay.
Both are very, very funny.
Good. Are you doing any?
I am the host, so
You're
I'll
the-
probably do a 10-minute set in
Yeah.
front and then bring the guys
And
up.
wrap it up at
Yep.
the end. Yeah.
Yep.
You're always great to listen
Thank
to,
you so
Doreen.
much. I
Love to have
appreciate
you on
you.
the show. Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
great. Do come on again.
I will, thank
Yeah,
you.
bring one of your guests with you sometime.
If they're in town, this is
I
a
know
little far
how
out,
that
so-
goes. They're coming from Philly.
Yep. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks so much, Doreen. We're going to switch right over and talk about pharmacy. Oh my gosh, it isn't that I haven't lived pharmacy all my life, but I ran into Ed at a college event that came up. They were opening up that big biopharmaceutical.
Very exciting.
Yeah, amazing. And you're one of the advisors at the college as well. Tell me, because I chatted with you for a little bit, and you have this long line of things. You've owned a place in Florida, and you did this, and you do that. And I said, this man is just, he's like a ping pong ball. You're all over the place. So, but you ended up in Tannersville. Were you from Tannersville?
I'm actually from Long Island.
Oh, well, that's
but
real close to
Yeah, I came
Tannersville.
up to the Hudson Valley at age 14, and so one way or the other on the journey of life, we have been in the Catskills, and it's been just wonderful. And so I've practiced in many areas, and
Yeah, you've done public health. I mean, you've done so many
I've done a lot
different.
of things, but when I wanted to turn around and take pharmacy, because it has such a noble background. And I wanted to say, how do I make the most beautiful and the most interesting pharmacy in America? we started with that. And I looked and said, the pharmacy distribution system has now been dominated by chain drugstores.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it was taken out of the hands of the
And
pharmacist.
then it just keeps going on, mail order. Now we have
Yeah.
Amazon mail order and on and on and on. That's not the history of pharmacy. And in Europe, my bar would be very high. In
Exactly.
America, it's not. So I wanted to bring back that romance. My first pharmacy, I had a soda fountain. And
My dad did in his.
yeah, and so we had an experience. So I said, okay, I have to find a location to demonstrate this model. So we landed in Tannersville, and our housing was very important. So it's an old Victorian building, wraparound.
Well, we have
balcony.
pictures that we're going to,
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
well, if they're up there right now, yeah.
And so I said, okay, this is a beautiful environment to start to lay out the beauty of it. And then the inside, we wanted to keep an old apothecary feeling, so wood floors. And then I said, all right, we have to add personality to this. One, we have to hide the drugs, so we can do all that in the back. And so everything is presented in a clean, upbeat, healthy way. And so as we designed everything, we have, the sound system has to be perfect. I wanted to make sure that the kids could feel connected. So we have fish tanks all over. We made it into an art gallery, colorful, so that we could use that as part of therapy. And then I said, okay, how do we make the smells good? How do we bring this in? And so the overall environment was beautiful. And then I wanted to take my 10 years of experience in natural medicine and blend it with traditional pharmacy to make that very, very unique. In Europe, natural medicine is regulated just like the FDA
Absolutely.
regulates prescription drugs.
Vitamins, everything.
Everything. We don't regulate any of it at all. So it's a little bit the Wild West
So when you
show.
buy St. John's wort, you don't know whether you got dandelion in there or you
It's
got
very, very
cannabis.
tough. Yeah. So I tried to study. I went around the world. I had different projects to say, let's stop and let's see, what can we learn from other cultures? And how do we bring it back and merge it in? Pharmacy is the great central base. And especially in the small communities, people trust you. They come.
They absolutely do.
And we're the first entry into primary care services for a community. So I said, how do we make it fun? So then we developed our culture that says our mission is to be of service to others and to treat everybody who walks in that door, right, equally, regardless of race, religion, or what you look like. If you're poor, we have Patient Assistance Fund. I have a charitable trust. We're going to help you. So I want to focus on you. Wow, the experience we had giving boosters, which is
Yeah,
just a
because now
good-
you can give vaccinations.
Yeah, and just yesterday, my first patient, and I have a beautiful layout to give the boosters. I have couches for people to sit afterwards.
Yeah, for a little bit after.
And afterwards to connect. So the first gentleman comes in, and he's 97 years old. Never met him before. Dignified, sits there in the chair, and he goes, put it right in the arm, And
Good for him.
I then said to him, because when you give a booster, you can either say, sit for 15 minutes for observation, or you can engage with
Yeah,
the
talk-
individual.
if you've got time, you talk
and
to 'em.
say, tell me your story.
Yeah.
We all have our own stories.
And people love to
And
tell their
people love
stories.
it. I'm not talking about me or pharmacy. I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
Look me in the eyes and tell me your story. So I asked him, and I go, so what's your secret for living? He goes, song and wine and women.
I love that. He's got it. He's got
And
it.
I go,
Nailed it
I
down.
said, you're Italian? And he goes, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the type of fun you could have. But what happens is you begin to blend in of who these folks are. Why is it that some people heal easier than others? And then we
A lot of times it's just listening to them and
Yes.
and giving them, there's been studies on this, and you know this as well as I do, is that sometimes if you go to a doctor and he says, okay, it's going to be blah, 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 and then you go to another doctor and he says, well, I think this is going to help you, so you give them that encouragement. The person that got that encouragement is going to get better faster.
Oh, sure.
So I do understand it, but you said something that was kind of interesting, because I think you and I have almost followed similar paths, not
Yeah.
exactly the same,
We might be called Renaissance.
but similar. So I opened up a pharmacy,
Yeah.
It was called the Apothecary Shop. That was the name of it. I had the first drive-up window in Kansas. I had a lab in the front window where I did all my compounding because the doctors there were really into compounding. So if you walked by my pharmacy, you might see me making capsules or making an ointment or doing something like that. So, and the other thing that you mentioned, which I had to chuckle a little bit, I didn't have any drugs showing either because I had the cabinets that opened up this way, and I'd get it and then I'd shut it, and it looked just like just front cabinets. So you and I think
We go back and.
we go back. I think we were cut from the same cloth.
You know what's been interesting to me, when I have all tools in front of me, the traditional tools, if somebody has pneumonia, I want them to take an antibiotic.
Yeah.
And then natural tools, so that you can offer more. So like, for instance, if you're dealing with emergencies, I can do a lot more with natural medicine than I can with traditional medicine. And so how do I?
The old poultices and all of the
absolutely,
things that went
absolutely.
into that, they don't do that anymore,
So
but
what we
you know.
evolved into was now blending our own formulas into our own product line. And then the most important thing is following people that let me know how's it working, so that I have empirical evidence.
You have empirical evidence.
And I can do it. So a good example was when CBD oil hit the market about 2.5 years ago. Now, I didn't know much about it. And,
Did any of us?
No.
All we knew was like, oh my gosh, it's going to make you into a violent person. And we know it doesn't cause any violence, you know. But I mean, you got all those films that they came out in the 40s and 50s.
Reefer
you know?
Madness, yeah.
Yeah. Reefer Madness.
Yeah,
It's like you're going to start playing jazz and you're going to.
So when I looked at it and said, okay, if a pharmacist is not going to take this on to learn more about CBD oil, who is? So I called up the companies that were hitting me to try to sell it. I go, can I talk to your medical department? Oh, there is no medical department.
That's me, baby.
So I said, okay, so we got a marketing play here.
Yeah.
But I go, I still didn't answer the question, what is CBD oil and how can it help? So I started to experiment.
And there's different. I mean, it's not that it's an inactive in the sense that it doesn't make you high if you take it or anything.
It's the full spectrum, which is about 80 different cannabinoids in it, has a very small trace amount of THC. But nothing that would give you an altered state.
Yeah.
If you purify it more, you can purify it down to pure CBD oil. And as the years go on, because this is not going away.
No.
I've seen enough on the therapeutic power of
It's
this.
been working for Parkinson's. It works
Yeah.
for a number of
Yeah,
conditions.
And so we go into.
But I'm not sure which ones work and which
Well,
are
here's-
just like, you
Here's
know.
what we found. I gave free CBD oil to 20 people, and then I monitored them over a 90-day period of time. And we had questionnaires they had to complete each week. And so I was able to get some very good, have beginning interviews, post interviews, and so on. And we did our research paper, it's published. And what I found is that it was very safe, and I like that. The second was everybody had to find out what dosage worked for them.
I've heard that. I've
You
heard
know?
that from people.
And sublingual administration.
Yeah, under the tongue,
would-
yeah.
Would be more powerful, but regardless of it, they had to find out what worked for them, and then they had reverse tolerance, which means you don't need more, you would need less. So I go, so like when we deal with ADHD kids.
It's like with phenobarbital where you build up that tolerance in the liver.
Yes, that would be.
Yeah, so this is the same thing?
Opposite. No,
Oh,
just the opposite.
Oh,
It's
you need
reverse-
more then?
No, less. It's reverse tolerance.
Oh, okay.
So that once you find the dosage that works for you in the schedule. whether
Oh,
it's
then you
twice a
work it
day,
down.
You can work it down.
Okay,
And,
gotcha.
So it's
Gotcha.
really very fascinating. But depending on the disease state that we might be treating, and now going through COVID has been the most fascinating, the most interesting experience in my career, since we've never been, any of us, in a pandemic like this. So we've been maybe concentrating more on anxiety, sleep deprivation. But it does two things. It calms the brain down, which is really quite remarkable. Not many things naturally can calm the brain down. And
Well, you can give a sedation, but that's not the same as calming.
It's not sedation. It calms
That's what
the
I'm
brain
saying.
down.
It's
Yeah.
they're opposite.
And then it calms the spinal cord down, which then handles the whole body. So I just found it, and we get people to find their dosage. would use it when they need to. I've used it many times when people have been in panic attacks. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. You know, from medical science, they're okay with epilepsy right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to see this
Epilepsy,
much
yeah,
more.
that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
That-
it
that-
really
I mean,
is.
and I've
High
seen.
dose, though, very high dose.
I've seen the videos of people that were in like an epileptic or even with Parkinson's where they're shaking and then
Yeah.
they take this and then they're fine. It's like, but the thing is that I think we're still, I don't know if we're still experimenting with it, but do you take it as a brownie? Or are you taking it this? Or how, I mean, how is it? Is it under the tongue? Is it
Well,
rubbed
they-
on? And I mean, there's so many dosage
Yeah,
forms that
yeah.
I don't know if they're doing rectal suppositories anymore. So who knows?
Well, there's a lot of ways to use it, but I want to be on the forefront of showing that a pharmacist is highly trained men and women coming out of this school. You know that. You know, these are PhDs, pharmacy,
Yeah, yeah.
doctors of pharmacy. Use their skills. When we need
And that's the one thing is that I always felt when I was teaching at the college, and I would teach the students, they go, we're never going to do this. Like I was teaching how to consult with patients.
Yeah.
At that time, there wasn't any real consulting, but I felt that was important. And they said, we're never going to consult with a patient. When I went with the Board of Pharmacy, we put a mandate in that there would be consulting. See, so even though you think that nothing is ever going to change, it does change. And I don't know, when I first practiced, I was telling someone this once, they couldn't believe it. When I dispensed a drug, if someone said to me, what is this for? I have to say, what is your doctor treating you for? I could not tell them
Yeah.
what that drug was for. I couldn't even tell them the name of the drug.
Yeah.
Think
yeah.
how far
No,
we've come.
I understand. You know, at our facility, I have 3 clinical rooms. You can be used for consultations, can be used, I have a mental health counselor and staff. We do energy medicine, acupuncture, massage therapy, and
Oh, so you've got that. So you rent out that space
we
for
rent
that,
the space
yeah.
and we do it. But here's the big thing, Ann.
So you've become a center.
Yes, we are a center, yes. And
Yeah, I gotta
don't-
come down there. I've
I don't
been meaning
care
to come down
If I
and-
get paid a dime, if I can be of help to that person,
Yeah.
we do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm always adapting to what it is.
And that's
that-
a different model.
It's a very different model, but let me assure you, coming out of COVID right now, we're starting to just get ourselves out of this. I've never seen the American healthcare system on its knees like this. And if people think that healthcare can just turn around on a dime, it takes too long to train a doctor or a nurse, pharmacist. So we got some challenges, especially in rural areas of America. So if we're not starting to expand the role of a pharmacist with provider status and other avenues, we're losing this primary care service, and we need it. And so that's what we're
I couldn't
trying
agree with you
to-
more.
to-
I mean,
to show.
having been in the field for all my career, I've always felt that we were underutilized, number one. I remember, you know, that people would used to, when I was a kid, my dad had a pharmacy, and my people would come in, what can you give me for a cold? What do I have? I've got an earache. What do you, and people don't do that. Maybe they do for you, but, I mean, they used to do it for me because I was specifically only filled prescriptions. I mean, that was what I was. I was a pharmacy. I wasn't selling, you know, candy and you know, whatever else, or have the old soda fountains and things like that. It was basic. I had, you know, I did oxygen. I did equipment for, bed, for Hoyer lifts and things like that. So I did that aspect of it. But the point is that things have changed. I went into a pharmacy to pick up something. You can't find anybody if you go into a chain. I'm
Yeah, I
telling you.
know, I know.
You can't find anybody that'll help you. The pharmacist who I really like the pharmacist that I work with. He's a really nice guy. But I mean, he's busy. It wasn't like you could go up to the counter and talk to a pharmacist. I mean, it's like he's behind this cage, sort of.
No, they can't. Here, I spend 30% of my time in consultation.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I loved it.
Sometimes it's cancer patients. Sometimes I was a former county mental health director, so I have experience in substance abuse.
Yeah.
And I'll tell any of the ones, whether they're on Suboxone or Oxycodone or they're using heroin out there, I want them to be
able to
their
talk to you, yeah.
pharmacist.
Yeah.
I tell them, don't lie to me, just lay it out. I'll try to help you the best I can. I have recovery services on our team to help. These are part of our community.
Yeah.
Don't isolate these high-risk individuals or they'll go underground.
Yeah.
Keep them engaged.
Yeah.
Keep them engaged.
Yeah, I
Let
mean,
them
I
feel
couldn't
comfortable. That's
agree
what a
with you more,
community
Ed.
pharmacy
I mean,
is all about.
that's what we really need to be doing is being engaged. And I mean, and when you and I were both at that opening there with
Yeah.
the biopharmaceutical, and we see where pharmacy is going technologically.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
an amazing where they're creating, they have the upstream and the downstream labs and the, what's happening? So we're going out into the ionosphere, so to
Yeah,
speak,
yeah.
with the field, and yet sometimes we're forgetting the basis.
Well, the basics, let's look at coming out of COVID, right? We're going to be having to answer those tough questions. We're spending 18% of our wealth on healthcare, right? Canada's 10%. That's almost twice as much as everyone. What are the outcomes at end that we have right now? Do you think we
The
live
outcomes
longer?
aren't any-
All right, we're 36th in longevity
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the industrialized state.
Nation.
Do you realize
In healthcare, we're not very high.
more women in America are dying at birth than any other industrialized society? It's even, many developing countries are doing better. We got to do better. So we have high technology. I mean, incredible. You know it.
Yeah.
All right. We still are heavily specialty trained in versus primary care. We can't afford more than 18%. So these are the tough decisions coming out of COVID. It's going to have to be made.
And you can't throw more money at it.
No, you can't. We don't have more
We
money.
don't have
for it.
more money.
So choices are going to have to be made. Coming out
Utilization.
right now, the highest number of early retirements ever in the history of our healthcare system. Then when the mandatory vaccinations have left to individuals leaving, we're down 3% in our clinical capacity in our country. And we started with a shortage of 40,000 primary care doctors.
Right.
So we have to redesign, revisit this. We need the high technology, but
Yeah, I mean, we're going to move forward.
we have to make sure it's ethically done
Yeah,
correctly,
yeah.
and with bioengineering and so on. But we need the blocking and the tackling, and primary care is about listening to people. We got to spend more than 6 minutes or 7 minutes with a person. That's what a pharmacist can do. We're a lower cost labor.
Well, and the thing is, if you go to a doctor, and I remember I talked to my doctor. I've been going to him like 40 years or something like that. Same guy, really good. But he left one unit or one group that he was with, and he says, "Well, they had me down. I can only speak to a patient for 8 minutes. That was all they allowed me for was 8 minutes. He said, "I can't practice medicine that way. You don't even get to know your patient." And it's not like if I come in and I say, I got this boo-boo on my arm, he said, "Okay, yeah, do this." That isn't treating a patient. Treating a patient is, how did you get the boo-boo? What happened? Oh, your husband hit you. Oh, well,
Yes.
I mean, so you're getting more information, and that's when I used to teach communication at the pharmacy, it was always about getting as much information from the patient so you can assess that and then move forward.
Yes, exactly. And the number one reason that people ask for help is for sinuses and allergies.
Oh, yeah,
And next will be anxiety and sleep deprivation.
sure. Everybody's, I can't sleep.
Pharmacists can handle these things.
Yeah.
And so we got to push down more. Yes, we have. The
And
only
you could
reason-
even, we even talked about pharmacists prescribing.
Yeah. Well, they are. They
Yeah.
do in Canada. They do in England. They
Yeah.
do in California. There are areas all around.
And yet-
New York is a kind of conservative state.
It has.
And it has not allowed for the advancement of it. But
Well, I
coming
mean,
out
we
of
were
COVID-
fighting for the vaccinations. I mean,
Yeah,
when I was the State Board of Pharmacy, we were saying, we kept
Yeah.
going to the lawmakers saying there's really, they're qualified, but you got your biggest arguments from the medical boards.
It was interesting. I said to President Dewey of Albany College
Yeah.
Pharmacy, I said, during the COVID, not that they loved us as pharmacists, they needed warm bodies to give immunizations.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we stood up and we
Yeah,
came.
and we did it.
We did 30% of all the immunizations in this country.
I get all my immunizations at my local pharmacy.
And that's just one component of our capacity.
Yeah.
So
But think of the pressure that we've taken off of the medical
Well,
field.
look at the separation between public health and our healthcare system that we discovered during COVID.
Yeah.
And here we are giving out all these vaccinations in mass vaccination centers and stuff. We have to utilize these community pharmacies. They got to be assets for the community because they work, and we've got to get involved with more areas like mental health. It's very important.
And education, I mean, when you look
absolutely.
at diabetic educators, and many pharmacists have gotten their diabetic education. The thing is, are they reimbursed for it? So now they're saying, well, you know, if you go to a MD and he does it, you get reimbursed. If you
Yeah.
go to a nurse practitioner, you get reimbursed. But a pharmacist is supposed to just give that away, and you can't do a good job if you're now looking at what's the next thing that I have to do. But if you know that you're allowed 30 minutes with this patient to get them on a better track for their diabetes.
I don't think we're going to win the economic curve. I've decided to become the first community pharmacy in America to convert to a nonprofit structure.
Yeah,
For
I saw that you were
precisely
looking at
of
that, yeah.
Because I want to provide more services like public health, like mental health, that are not for-profit enterprises anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll
I mean,
continue-
you still have to make money.
Absolutely. Oh,
But
no,
that doesn't
yes.
mean that you can't be. And nonprofit means that you aren't benefiting from everything, but you can get a salary.
We will start with a profitable company.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to expand into maybe communities that lost their pharmacy, but they need a little help to do it.
Yeah.
But we still got to make the fight for economic reimbursement.
Absolutely.
It is controlled by pharmacy benefit managers,
Oh.
unregulated.
Yeah.
I fill 30% of my prescriptions every day and lose money.
Yeah.
That's not right.
No, well, it's terrible because I told somebody that. I said, you don't realize that what they do is they say, oh, see, the average wholesale price is, say, $100.
Yeah.
And we're discounting that 17%. So now or 15%. Now, really, they think you're only paying $85 when, in fact, you paid $100.
Yeah.
I mean, so people don't realize how you get, I don't even want to say nickel and dimed. We're talking money and money.
We're talking, well, you know, most people don't realize that generics are now 83% of all prescriptions, relatively low cost. So 17% of most of the money goes to brand drugs.
Yeah.
We're the only country, other than New Zealand, that allows for public advertising to the consumer.
Don't get me started on that.
What do you
That's my
think?
biggest.
Create demand, more drugs, there you go.
But see, and I've said this to people, and I say, what two countries in the world? And they go, they're thinking. I go, no, the U.S. and New Zealand.
Yes.
They're the only ones that have direct-to-consumer
Terrible.
prescription. And not only that, but if you look at the drugs that they're advertising, those are like $1,000 a dose.
I know, I know.
And people are suckered in. Look, don't get me started. But listen, we're out of time.
Okay.
But I've enjoyed chatting with you, and I do have to get down to Tannersville and check you out.
Please,
I mean,
please do.
not check
It's
you out.
wellnessrxllc.com.
No, I know it is, and we've had that up there.
And a pleasure to have joined you today.
Yeah,
Thank
and you don't need to leave. I'm just going to say who's coming on next week. We're going to be talking about Beat the Snow concerts, Festival of Trees, and that's at the Historical Society and also the YWCA. And the New Russian Cultural Center is doing a play. It's called After Yesterday, and they're doing it 2 productions. One is in Russian and one is in English, and they were looking for actors for that as well. But that's going to be a fabulous event that they're doing. And then we're going to be talking about the difficulties that the U.S. Postal Service is having from someone who really knows. So thanks again, Ed, for being
Thank you,
here,
Ann.
and have a happy Thanksgiving. Pleasure to meet you. You've been watching, and happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. I'm Ann Pearl, your host. We're up. Okay, how'd it go? Probably learned more about me than you ever wanted to. Okay. Oh, boy, vey. Good show, huh? That wasn't so bad doing a long segment like that, was it?
We were wondering if you knew you had half an hour left.
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay.
I mentioned it to Raymond, I think. Well, you think I would have done that?
Well, Jan and I were wondering what you were going to do.
Yeah, no, I knew I was going to talk to him for half an hour. I had already talked to him about that.
How